You are listening to an exclusive on PodHub Network. Your city, your podcast.
All right, welcome to a special edition of Back to the Burgh. This is a new version of Back to the Burgh, where I'm going to be interviewing small business owners in Western Pennsylvania, just trying to give a little awareness to small businesses in need in this time of Corona. So my first guest is Josh Hendrickson, the owner of 580 Barbell over in Monaca, PA. It's brand new. And Josh, I've known Josh for years. And when I saw he was opening his own gym, I was like, I got to get him on here, got to get him going. And obviously he's got that fantastic shirt in the background, so you know where his allegiances are. So Josh, thank you for coming on. I'm happy to have you.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate the kind words, man. I couldn't be more excited to be here. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity.
Yeah, no problem. So let's get into it from our relationship.
Yes, sir.
I got to know you basically through, like, you played baseball with my brother growing up. All of our parents were friends at one time. We all were going to each other's houses. Like, that was a ton of fun. That was probably the peak of my childhood.
Yeah,
there was
dude.
just so many kids around at one time.
Yeah, dude.
What did you take away from that experience of, like, having a close knit, like, I guess, family and friend group growing up, and just that whole experience? What was it like?
Oh, man. It was the best. Like, obviously we both grew up in Beaver. It was just like, it still is like the perfect town to grow up in my opinion. Like, we rode bikes every single day, would play wiffle ball every single day. Like what you were saying, our parents would go hang out, get boozed up.
Yeah.
And we would go down the park, play football, play throw up and kill, whatever. And just, man, it was just so awesome. And I'm so thankful to have grown up in such an awesome town. I mean, I still live here now. And yeah, man, it was just the best. Like, I'm still, like, Thanksgiving, we still go down to the same park, Memorial Park by the school, and play football. We don't play tackle anymore, but too old for that. But, we all get banged up after, and it's just, like you said, man, I mean, those were the best times, dude. They were awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Fuck, what was I gonna say? I had something, and then you were going. I was like invested in what you were saying.
Dude, you're good, man.
So, yeah, fuck. Oh, I was gonna say, like, growing up in Beaver, you're kind of like, oh, I want to get out of here. I want to get out of Beaver County.
Right.
And me, I did get out of Beaver County, but as we grow older, we realize we had it great in Beaver County.
Yeah, dude.
It's literally small town America, like upper middle class. Everybody's helping everybody. And, like, do you still see that? And now that you're older, like, is that kind of the experience that you've gone through?
Yeah, I think honestly, like, now more than ever, I realize it. And, like, I appreciate it more than ever, in all honesty. Like, I never, until I went to college and stuff and kind of moved away. I didn't go very far, but I went, an hour and a half away down to Cal U. And I moved out of the county a little bit for work, and I was traveling a ton for work. And, like, you talk to different people, and, like, I took for granted being able to walk to my grandma's house and walk to my aunt and uncle's house and walk across the street to my other uncle's house. Like, that stuff, I lived it, and I'm still living it my whole life, man. And I'm so thankful for it. But you go in, people that grew up and, like, their closest relative is like an hour plus away.
Yeah.
It's like, I just always took for granted, having my aunts, uncles, grandparents, friends 2 minutes away. So now more than ever, I think I've just learned to appreciate it. And, the time you have with your family, enjoy it. I know coronavirus, it's crazy. We can't all get together as much, but, man, yeah, I think now more than ever, I appreciate it. I can look back at it, and those times that you were mentioning, those are the best. But, my whole family pretty much is still here. So, yeah, man, I love it.
Yeah. So we mentioned you mentioned, actually, you went to Cal U for college.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even before that, I want to know, where did your love for weightlifting come from? I've noticed it's kind of become a big part of your life. Obviously, now that you have a business.
Yeah, man. I mean, I have a full-time job as well that I'm fortunate to do, and I love doing it every day, and I genuinely do. Of course, I want to make 580 my full-time gig here, but right now it's just not feasible. but down the line, I want this to be my life. But I went to college. I mean, I really didn't lift weights. You knew me in high school. I mean, I think when
Yeah.
I graduated, I probably weighed 125 pounds, maybe 130 pounds soaking wet. Um, so I went to college. In my first year at college, I met a couple guys and I just got involved in the gym. I just started showing up, lifting weights, talking to the guys that were bigger than me. And I just got bit by that iron bug, man. I don't know what happened, but I just fell in love with it. And I just became such a geek for this stuff. I just started collecting my own data, doing my own, analytical research, recording. I still have every training session I did from when I was 18 years old to now. I still have it all recorded in an Excel sheet. So, um, and when I went to college, I was just, those were the kids I hung out with, were the guys at the gym. And I was just so fortunate. I made some of the best friends, to this date ever. And that's how I got started. So as a freshman in school, and then after a year lifting, I gained some size. I came home that summer and did nothing but work and train. And I met a couple guys on the rugby team. They invited me on, obviously, because I was a little bit bigger at the time then. And, they would have never invited me like the year before or like in high school because I was, a lot smaller. But so I fell in love with rugby too, which just made me lift weights more and more. And yeah, I got hurt in rugby and it kind of just faded away. Couldn't really do it anymore. And, so I started just competing and lifting from there, powerlifting. We started running our own competitions. We ran our own competition at school. And man, long story short, from there, it just kind of escalated. Like it just kind of spiraled out of control. I read everything I could get my hands on. I talked to everyone. I was going in, just giving a hand at other gyms or competitions just to learn something. And then from there, I got asked if I wanted to manage the gym at school. So you went to Bethany, every gym, every school has their own rec center, right? So Cal, we had a rec center, pretty big, 3-story gym. And if you got into a master's program, you could manage a gym. So I worked there in the mornings, managed a gym. I oversaw the undergraduate staff, helped with scheduling, conflicts, just overall gym operations. So that was how my management side of stuff came that I can now use at 580, right? Because I mean, we had 3,000 plus members there,
Yeah.
pretty big facility with a pool, racquetball courts, weight room, all that stuff. So
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely puts a lot on your resume there, just working
right.
that graduate level job.
Right. It helped a ton. I learned from the business side. I mean, I wasn't paying bills or anything,
Yeah.
but just to see that stuff, man. And so, yeah, my answer for how I got into lifting, it was Cal U. I mean, I really do man, I met so many great people there. My buddy's Gray, who I ended up living with during my master's, he ended up being still is one of my best friends ever, and I met some other guys along the way, Sweaty Mike, Goku, just so many guys, so many nicknames, but
Yeah.
and literally, I talk to those guys still. And I just look back at those times where it's just go to class, couple class and then lift weights. We were living the life, man.
Yeah, so let's backtrack a little bit. You played rugby, you said.
Yeah.
I think that's a real college thing.
Oh, dude.
The
It's yeah.
either they were football players that didn't end up getting scholarships,
Yeah.
or just kids that weren't very athletic in high school that want to get into athletics.
Right.
That's what
Yeah.
they do. They just get into rugby.
It's crazy.
Yeah, talk about that and how you got into it and talk about your love for rugby, I guess.
Yeah, dude. I still love the sport, man. It was one of those things. It's dude, that's spot on. That's funny as hell. Cause you go to it's so funny how many people are oh, I went to college and played rugby. There's not that many good actual rugby players in high school in our area because there isn't
there's no rugby.
We have a kid at our gym now. His name's Dante, and he's actually the producer of my podcast for the gym.
Yeah.
But he looks like Shrek, but he's strong as hell, nicest dude ever. But he actually went to a legitimate Division I school and played rugby. So he's one of those guys that for whatever reason played in high school or something like that. But yeah, man, I was in the weight room one morning, and like I said, I had been lifting for about a year and a half now, and I was getting serious. I probably weighed about like 165 pounds now. So I probably put on about 30 pounds. I was getting all serious, going to bodybuilding.com and shit and buying all that stuff, taking whey protein. And so I was in there and I was squatting or benching or whatever. And guy came up to me. He's like, "Hey man, you want to play rugby?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." And he's like, "We got tryouts today, like for the spring season. Come on out." I ended up showing up. And I just fell in love with it. Like you said, man, it was just something to do. Like I
Yeah.
played baseball my whole life. And I didn't really play any other sports. I wrestled for 2 years, which I loved in high school. But, I got to college and it was like, I'm just going to study and lift weights. So it was just something fun to do. And you got to hit people and learn a new sport. So and then I ended up, so, I played rugby, played a full season, kept coming back. I ended up playing 4 years of rugby.
Awesome.
And I ended up being the president of the club at the school for a year and a half. So, it was helped me a lot with, like, I look at now, like managing a gym and having to budget money and stuff. Like I had a budget that the school gave me and I was in charge of budgeting it. So like stuff like that. But yeah, that's how I fell in love with rugby. I just literally showed up one day and we had a cool group of guys and they were so much tougher than me. Like my first 2 years of rugby made me really become a man because those guys were just so much bigger, so much. And it's just such a weird sport. If you play football, it's like, because I played foot, like your dad was the guy that ran boosters when I played, and your brother was the quarterback the first year I played football, actually. But so football was, it's just, I expected rugby to be so much like football, and it was just so much different. I don't know if it's just
more like soccer, isn't it?
It's
especially when you watch it on TV. Like I got into watching it on TV. I never, like, after watching it, I was like, I'll never play this.
Yeah,
it's too dangerous for me.
Yeah, you watch it and like it looks confusing, but it's only confusing because we didn't know what it was. It's a very simple game.
You're used to seeing a lateral pass instead of a lateral pass.
Right. And just I mean like comparing it to football as far as mannerisms, like football players are like hard asses and you win the game and you shake their hand and stuff, but you don't party with them after. Like imagine like Beaver and Aliquippa like having a party together after they play high school football. But like
complete opposite.
Right. But in rugby, it's like we would play, I went to Cal U, so like say like Slippery Rock, right?
Yeah.
We would play them. And then after the game, like you just kicked each other's ass for 80 minutes and then you have a party together. It's called That's a social. Awesome. So it was like you get together and like drink beer and like Four Locos and shit after just like kicking each other's ass for 80 minutes. It was like, that was like the one thing that like took forever. Cause it was like, you always were taught to kind of be like a hard ass, shake their hand after the game, but it's like,
like have respect for them, but you don't like them type of
But thing. It was just like rugby was just a whole new respect, man. Like you would go to these tournaments and like, you're just having beers and shit with like the other teams and stuff. So man, it was just such an awesome sport. And it was such a good transition for me. And it helped me get serious with lifting. And I owe so much to rugby, man. I had some great coaches and some awesome teammates. So man, it was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And just one last thing is, in college, everybody gets into some obscure sport, and I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like rugby's more of like a major sport, I'd say. But then you also have like ultimate frisbee.
Yeah.
I'm seeing people are getting into disc golf.
Yeah, we had a disc golf course.
Yeah. Like I've played it one time in my life. I thought it was awesome, but
it looks fun as hell. I mean, I've never played it, but yeah, I think the big thing is like everyone just kind of wants something to do, right?
Exactly. Everyone wants to find their
high school. It's easy to play a sport because it's like your friends play. Even if you suck. I had friends that suck at baseball. I won't name names, but they played, but they didn't play. But it was just an excuse to hang out with your friends for, you know what I mean, every day after school for 2 hours.
I'd say this. That's kind of how it was for me. Like,
I love.
Obviously, people like the coaches thought I was good, so I started. Right. But like, I went to college and played for a year, and I was like, it's just not the same. Like, I don't know these guys. We're trying to build relationships, but it's just not there. Yeah, and it's like I'd rather have done something like you did and discover something alongside a bunch of people, which I kind of
Right.
did through lacrosse. I didn't play, but I announced lacrosse
Oh,
at
okay.
Bethany. So that's my obscure college sport. Even though
Gotcha.
I
That's
played
cool.
it.
Yeah, we had a lacrosse club at school too, man. I knew a lot of those guys. They were cool. But I think the
Yeah.
big thing too, man, is like we grew up in a town, like we talked about at the beginning of the podcast, is like everyone was so tight knit. So it's like when you
Yeah.
go to college, it's like it feels standoffish because like
Hmm.
I didn't have like I was lucky enough. I went to school. Two of my best friends in the world went to Cal U too. So I just got to live with them. So
Yeah.
I never had that awkward like meet someone and live with them thing. I just lived with my best friends from high school. But just as far as like meeting people, they have different mannerisms. They talk differently than you. You don't know if they're gonna take offense to something you say that was a joke, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was just baseball. I wasn't that good at baseball, but
Yeah. Me
uh,
neither.
but like just going and hanging out with my best friends every day for 2 hours,
Yeah.
is like,
Yeah.
man,
And
this is awesome,
I'd say for me, like in college, the only familiarity I had was Zach Yates, big rig.
Oh yeah,
We
he
were there
went
at the
to
same time, but he was a senior, and I was like, well, he's gonna be gone, and I'm not gonna have any friends,
right.
you know?
Yeah. It's always nice to know someone though. I'm
Yeah,
sure that helped a
exactly.
ton.
So now let's talk about where's the transition, or what's the timeline between graduating college, having all this knowledge of lifting and the management behind it, to actually opening your own gym. What's that timeline look like?
Way too long. Way too
Yeah.
long. So I always knew I wanted to. Like
Mhm.
I always knew I wanted to. And my cousin Kurt, who has Kurt Langtod, he
Yep.
has Aurelius CrossFit, which has been wildly successful. Like I couldn't be more happy for him. But Kurt and I, it's funny because he was my cousin, and we knew each other in high school, but like it was like we just had mutual friends and we'd say what's up, but we never like hung out or anything. But after our bond for lifting brought us together right after college, and we trained together, we drove almost an hour every single day together to go to a gym we wanted to go to
It's
that
awesome.
had everything we needed, because Beaver didn't really have a strength training gym for like what I just opened. It was more private stuff and, just commercial gyms and whatnot. So, but yeah, so I always knew I wanted to open one because I just fell in love with it and everything. But the process, being like a 21, 22-year-old kid, like I kind of underestimated it. I didn't realize, looking at buildings and all that shit that goes into it, that I'm finally so happy it's all over. And,
Yeah.
just everything that goes into it. So, I mean, I graduated in 2016 with my master's from Cal. Um, from there, I just went to a strength training gym with my cousin and my friends and stuff. Um, and then uh, just working like the
Hmm.
same kind of profession I am, just a different company. So I guess it took me 4 years. Over that time period, though, I was buying stuff on Facebook Marketplace. I was saving $500 at a time so I could buy more weights, buy a couple barbells. So the nice thing was for me for 580 is these past 4 years has been me preparing for this. Like I've just been
Yeah.
saving up equipment. So before I got all the new equipment, I already had enough.
Yeah.
But really the big thing that happened from it, and not to make light of COVID by any means, but we were training out of Kurt's gym, just a small
Yeah.
corner. I mean, we literally had probably like an 8 by 8 foot square that was just ours for me and my friends that are in strength training. And man, I'm forever grateful for Kurt for giving us that, because he didn't charge us anything, rent, anything. It just allowed me to get all my equipment in one place and have a place to train every day. Um, but so when COVID happened, beginning of March, um, I rented a 2-car garage in Beaver and just made it a gym. All my
Yeah.
friends got a code to get in, and it was just a garage. It wasn't heated or anything, but it was summer, so it was fine. And so that just allowed me to get even more equipment and more equipment. And I just started to notice, man, how many more people have a passion for this like I do. And we met a couple guys, met a couple more guys, met a couple girls, and they started showing up. So we've got 10, 11 people in a freaking, 600 square foot, 400 square foot
Yeah.
garage. And I had been, I've been looking at places around Beaver County for 2 years. For 2 years, I've been looking for places. And finally, I found a place in Monaca that had everything I needed. It was, a gym is such a weird thing. It's not like, not to discredit any other businesses, but there's so many specific things you need for a gym, right? Like you need all that parking, you need ceilings that are 14 foot high,
Yeah.
you need wide open space, you need flooring. Like you can't be above a tenant because you're dropping heavy shit,
Yeah.
right? You
Yeah.
can't be below a tenant because you got guys playing heavy metal music and shit like that, or just any type of music that's loud. So man, it was just such a process. Like 2 years of my life. Like I just got engaged on Christmas Eve.
Yeah. I
And
was going to bring
my
that up and
fiance,
say congratulations.
thank you so much, man. That means a lot. But my fiance has been here for over 2 years. We've been together for over 2 years, and I've been looking at buildings since before we were dating.
Yeah.
You know, and it took to get engaged to find a building. So it's just such a long process. And I've had people reach out like, how do you start a gym? How do you start a gym? And I don't sugarcoat it, and I don't know all the answers, but you got to be patient, and you got to,
Mhm.
I was ripping my hair out every night, man, but I'm so thankful that I waited. I didn't rush into some of these places I was about to, because I've ran into the greatest opportunity ever over in Monaca, man.
Yeah, and I want to highlight that whole process by
Yeah.
saying, since this is a small business oriented podcast, I feel like that's what goes into a lot of passionate business ideas. And that, like, it's just a lot of preparation, a lot of patience, a lot of, dark days until you see the light.
Oh,
And I think that's what a lot of people might not understand, is that this started as a dream of yours over 4 years ago, and now it's finally coming to fruition. And now that COVID's here, it makes it even harder to fulfill that dream.
right.
You know?
Yeah, we were supposed to open in December, like soft opening. We're planning to like a big opening party in January now, but our governor and our great leadership here in Pennsylvania decided to shut down gyms for December. So
Yeah.
it's just another kick in my ass, but it's okay. We'll fight through it. I think you said something awesome back there, but just to go off it, is with opening it, there's a lot of patience. And I think the biggest thing is, if you have a passion for what you're doing, you're going to be successful 99% of the time. I'm so passionate about this, and I love it. And I know a lot of people involved with me love it as well. And I couldn't do it without the guys that I have around me, because they love it. It takes a guy that genuinely loves it to help me move, thousands and thousands of pounds of stuff. My friends,
Absolutely.
I don't pay them to help me move it. They train at the gym, and that's it, man. So,
Like, that's their payment.
right. It's like, man, I mean, they lifted for free when we were in a garage for a while, but it was a 400 square foot garage, and now
Yeah.
they're not getting anything out of it. They're just helping me move, thousands of pounds of 45-pound plates, machines, turf, flooring, squat racks. So you really got to be passionate for it. And like you with this podcast, man, you can tell like the product you put into it, like you really care about it, which is
Oh,
awesome.
I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, man, of course. And yeah, it's you feel for some of these businesses right now. Like I'm at least in a position where like I don't know what I would do if I didn't have money for rent this month, or I was getting evicted, or I couldn't operate at all to any extent. So
Yeah.
I'm just grateful to be in the position I still am, with gyms being closed right now. And I just hope that going forward into January, it doesn't happen again, man.
Yeah.
I'm really rooting for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into the bones of 580 barbell. What does that even stand for? 580 barbell.
Yeah.
What's the meaning behind it?
Yeah. So, Riley Flynn, my stupid best friend,
Yeah.
we called each other, we called our group Pig Iron forever.
Okay.
And that was our name, and that was actually going to be the name of the gym. But two things, it was a legal issue, because when I actually had to start the business, I realized that there's legalities, and I got to have insurance, and I got to have business licenses and all that stuff. So I ran into that. So we were just like, shit, we're nameless. So my landlord is the Monaca Legion. So they
Okay.
own the building where I exist in. And every American Legion in the United States has a post number, and their post number is 580. So
Gotcha.
when we were starting the negotiations with them back in September, I've had this building since September.
Mhm.
And when we were starting negotiations with them, we didn't have a name. And they were trying to get stuff on a license and stuff like that. Well, the one guy at our one meeting, he had to put down a name for something, and he wrote 580 barbell. Or he said 580 barbell, something like that. And I was sitting at the table, I was like, what did you just say? And he said it again. And I just love the name of it. I loved 580 barbell. You know, it kind of ties us into the local feel with Monaca, because the Legion does so much. I couldn't say enough good stuff about them, man. I know some people have horrible issues with landlords, especially with gyms. They have been
Yeah.
the most supportive, unreal group of guys in the world, and they do so much charity work. They give out hundreds and hundreds of meals for Thanksgiving, hundreds and hundreds of meals for Christmas to local families that can't have it and veterans that can't have it. They just raised $5,000 for a veteran organization a couple months ago, and they're not even open. They're not even open
Yeah.
right now because our governor's orders. Like, so they're, you know, you have guys who that's their life being there and they love being there, and they can't even be open right now, but they're still giving away over 100 meals on Christmas when they're not even allowed to be open. Like,
Yeah.
so it's just, the 580 means a lot to me because it kind of tied in Pig Iron, and then it tied in this new story, which is like our official start, because the Legion has given me such a family feel, and they've been so welcoming to us. Like, it's a hard sell, man. Like, you got guys, like you got to tell them, like, dude, we got guys dropping 600, 700 pound deadlifts. We got guys dropping these big ass Atlas stone concrete balls that weigh 300 pounds. You got guys playing heavy music, and they're like, dude, we're for it, man. Like, we see what you're building. We want you over here. Like, dude, come down. Let's do this thing. So I couldn't be more thankful. So 580, you know, it's a name I want to have the rest of my life. You know, I want this gym. I never want to change the gym name. You know, whether I'm there the rest of my life or we move to another building, I hope to be there the rest of my life. They're great, but it's just to pay homage to them, man, and everything they've done for me. And it's just kind of the tying of two parties.
Yeah, that's a really awesome story, and I think that's actually a great place to, I think, wrap up,
Yeah.
because I was gonna ask more, but I think you captured everything that I was looking to get out of you, I guess. And I
Yeah.
think people are gonna appreciate that story, especially just, meshing with the Legion like that and really caring for that place.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I can talk for hours, so sometimes I got to be shut off. But yeah, man, it's awesome. It's a strength training gym. You know, it's not like a Planet Fitness. Like, you're not gonna go there and there's gonna be 15 ellipticals, 15 treadmills, which is fine. You know, people want to train different ways. You know, there's more than one way to skin a cat, or whatever that saying is. You know,
Yeah.
so. You know, I'm into strength training. People that go there into strength training. We have people that are into general fitness and health too. I mean, we have machines. We have a bunch of new specialty equipment. So anyone, man, that's listening to this, I appreciate you having me on, first off, man.
Yeah,
And I
no
appreciate
problem.
anyone that's listened and made it this far into this podcast. I genuinely do. If anyone even has an inkling or wants to just see what's down there or what we're about or anything, DM us on Instagram, just 580 barbell, all one word. Text me, call me. The business number's on there. Like us on Facebook. We've got a little podcast we've got going just to kind of highlight the gym, highlight some strength training stuff, and just kind of bullshit as friends.
Try to highlight the personality, because I
Dude.
think that's what a lot of people don't get, and I think that it would be great for more businesses to do that,
Bro,
just to kind of
yeah.
understand who you're getting into business with. And I think that's a great platform for you guys to start, especially with a gym like that.
And dude, it's so much fun. Like, this
Absolutely.
podcasting stuff is addicting, dude. Like,
Absolutely.
Our producer of the show, Dante, he knows what he's doing. I don't. I just show up and like talking in the mic and stuff. I tell him what I want to talk about. But man, like, he's got us hooked up with sponsors already and stuff like that. And
Wow.
like,
I don't even have that.
It's been, dude, talk to him, man. I'm serious. He's the best, man. Like I said, he looks like Shrek. He looks like a dummy, but he's honestly become one of my best friends in the world. And I've only known him for like a year. We talk way too much. We talk every day, but I'm having so much fun with this podcast. Like, I can only imagine for you, you've had a ton of episodes, and you're like, this is a new one, but
Yeah.
this stuff is addicting, dude. Just getting together with your friends and talking and having
Yeah,
fun,
man.
dude.
And like that,
We got to
like
have you on
said,
our podcast now, man.
Yeah. And like you said, it's addicting. Like, that's why I'm like, I'm doing the regular Back to the Burgh for so long, only 6 months. And I'm like, I want to do something new.
Yeah.
That's why that's how I got into this idea. I think we mentioned before we started recording, the Barstool Fund was a big thing that really got me to want to do this and kind of give back as much as I can because I
Right.
don't have $8 million.
Right.
you
Yeah.
know?
No, dude, man. That's seriously like, I'm glad you brought that Barstool Fund up because like
Yeah.
I like Barstool. I'm not like a diehard Stoolie, but I listen
Yeah.
to a lot of podcasts and stuff. And man, like what an awesome thing that is. I think I looked before we came on the show and it was like above 9 million now.
Yeah, it's skyrocketing, man.
Yeah, and it's so cool for a guy that's like not in politics or anything like that to do that. It's like you look at this and not one politician has taken a pay cut throughout this whole thing, and like, you know, not to get political at all, but it's like it's guys that really, you know, what do they have to gain from it, and they're the ones doing good, man. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
Dave Portnoy is, I mean, obviously it's helping his image out a lot, but that Barstool Fund is awesome, man. I
yeah,
want
I
to
mean,
look.
just
I want to
just
look
a
into a way
small
to do something.
tangent, just a small tangent. Like guys like him and like Gary Vaynerchuk, like all those small business, they started out as small businesses,
Yeah, they get it. They
and
get it.
they
Like
now they're $1 million companies. And
Portnoy
like you said,
started
they get it.
Barstool like 20 years ago, you know, like I watched some of that Barstool documentary
Yeah, it started
where
out
he
as
yeah,
just a newspaper for fantasy sports.
yeah, he said he had to play blackjack online to win money to eat that night, you know, and if
Yeah,
he didn't win, it's like he didn't order pizza. And if
yeah,
he had a winning night on online blackjack, he got pizza. So
yeah,
like those dudes get it. And like my heart, like I said earlier, man, my heart genuinely goes out to people that are struggling in this time. And I mean, like really struggling. Like, I don't know what I would do if I couldn't open my business. And man, people have, we're talking about me, like being an expert and like being passionate, man. Like I'm still a student of this game. I've only been lifting for 7, 8 years. Like there's people that have been doing business 40, 50, 60 years and their whole life is just crashing down now, man. My heart seriously just breaks for people like that. So anything that can help those small businesses, I'm all for, man.
yeah, exactly. And like you said before, if anybody's listened this far into the podcast, reach out. I want to talk to you. I want to give you some sort of platform, whether it's
Right.
big or small. You know, that's kind of just what this is. And this is a
Yeah.
test run with Josh.
Man, this is it's a cool concept what you're doing, man. I think it'll really take off. I think
Yeah, I
it's an
mean,
awesome idea.
it started out as a test run with Josh, but I think we're gonna really hammer this thing down and just be sure to go to 580 Barbell. Go see what's up about it. If you're into strength training, if you're into nutrition, even, I'm sure Josh can help you out with that stuff. Be sure to go check him out. And yeah, anybody else who thinks, you know, if they can get their name out there some other way, that it'll help, please reach out. My DMs are open on Twitter, Instagram. You can always comment on the YouTube videos. So anybody that's looking for help in any way, I want to help you in the only way I know how, and that's by talking to you. So thank you, Josh, for coming on. And we will be, once this podcast goes out, we will be doing a giveaway. Josh
Yeah,
will be doing a giveaway.
I was gonna say,
If you want to elaborate a little bit.
yeah, man. First off, you know, one last time, man, thank you so much for having me. You know, it
No
really means a
problem.
lot. You know, people like you, it's the support that we have gotten this last month has just been, it's been mind blowing. It's been seriously like, it's brought tears to my eyes a couple of times. Just like the support, I, I, it makes you realize how many people have your back and
Mm-hmm.
how many people want us to see you succeed and they don't benefit anything from it.
Yeah, and then
So
like
man,
I just want to add one thing because it's
yeah,
like we grew up in Beaver. We literally lived off of small businesses.
right,
We all went to Robert's Roadside Inn.
right.
We all went to the Wooden Indian. We all went to all these places. They're all small businesses, and right now they need our help.
Right. Yeah, man. That's such a great point. Like I said, it's for a business that's just starting. I probably picked the worst time in history to start a business, but it's whatever, man. If we can make
Absolutely.
it, yeah, like if we can make it through this, man, we can.
You can
Yeah,
make
we're gonna
it.
be like franchised in like all 50 states or something, man, because it's been a dogfight, man. But no, I appreciate it so much. And to everyone, you know, if anyone from 580 or anyone that supported us, you know, is listening right now, from the bottom of my heart, I'm a joking dude. I joke around a lot. I bust balls, but man, from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate it. Whether you bought a shirt, whether you're a member at the gym, whether you just sent me a message, thank you so much, because that's the reason we're going to be able to make it and we're going to be a successful gym. Anyone that wants, like Cody said, shoot me a text, DM me 580 barbell, like us on Facebook. We have a podcast called The 580 Show. And we have a website called 580. It's just 580barbell.com. So we've got shirts like the Governor Wolf Doesn't Lift shirt. We've just got genuine, like just normal logos. We've got some new stuff on there. It's been awesome to see people just from like, I had a girl I've never met from Philly. She bought 3 of those shirts and just said, like, I love what you're doing. Like, want to stop out at the gym. So people like that have supported me for no reason. It's just, man, it's awesome. So thank you to anyone. And man, thank you for giving me this platform. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. And with the giveaway, Josh is going to post it on the 580 Barbell Instagram.
Yes,
I will put a link to that in the comments or in the description. And just be sure to go over there and do whatever he says and win a shirt.
Yeah. We're going to give away a shirt, man. So we'll probably do something with posting it on the story like we talked about, but we'll talk a little more off air about it. But yeah, man, give away a nice shirt, get some people talking about both your podcast and my business, man. It'll be great.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks for coming on, Josh.
All right. Thank you so much, dude.